Welcome into our diet talk number 2. So this talk is going to be focused on providing you recommendations that you can actually utilize in terms of starting to plan out what you eat, especially before, during, and behind a ride or a race. But I'm also going to cover some general daily diet recommendations. Before we get started, again, my degree and my work is in physiology. I am a physiologist by trade. That's what I have all of my field work in. So these are general recommendations that we would give to the kind of population. If you know that you are trying to achieve something with your diet, if you know that you have special needs, if you can't eat a certain food, if you are allergic to peanuts or whatever, please, again, consult a dietitian before you go crazy on this stuff. With that said, let's talk nutrition recommendations. So nutrition. All right, let's start here with our daily diet. These are the general recommendations you'll see from a lot of groups, including a lot of the leading physiology groups. And a part of this is you're going to have to go and learn how to adjust this for yourself based on what you're doing and what you have in terms of your personal goals. So daily diet, we're going to go and look at 3 of our macro groups here. So carbs, CHO, fats, and protein. For all of these, we do have a recommended range for our daily diet. Carbohydrates is 6 to 10 grams per kilogram of body weight per day. Fats is going to be 1 to 2 grams per a kilogram of body weight per day. And protein is 1, I'm going to change my ones here, to 2 grams per a kilogram of body weight per day. So a big thing here is you'll probably know that we're going to talk about kgs, not pounds. So how do I go and convert my weight from pounds, which is what we use, over here, to a kilogram? And that's fairly easy. Either A, go on your smartphone and go and type it in as a search, 155 pounds to kgs, and it will do it for you. Or take my weight in pounds, and I'm going to divide it by 2.205. And that will go and give me a precise enough weight that we can go forward with it. So for all 3 of these, again, go and think about the first talk in our carbohydrate group. We want complex forms. We want fiber. These are good things. All right, fats, we want healthy fats, so unsaturated. Just put unsaturated fats. And protein, we want complete proteins. Try that again. There we go. So our daily diet isn't too complex. Think about, again, if you want to go and think about a plate, the whole myplate.gov where it goes and gives you this plate. If you think about it as being at least half full of your fruits and veggies, so I'll put F and V, fruits and veggies, and then go and think about, your protein source over here, and they've moved the dairy off on the side, so dairy over there. It's not too hard to go and figure out what you want to do in terms of going and eating. There are plenty of recommendations available, especially due to the ability to get online and go and follow people who are a dietitian as their job and have blogs on this. So that one's the just general one. Keep in mind, everything that we go and talk about below this is going to include a certain amount of food that we recommend that you eat, but all of this folds into your daily amounts here. All right, so this is for your entire day overall. So pre-ride. Okay, pre-ride, we go and break up into 2 general groups, 3 to 4 hours before and 1 to 2 hours. So 3 to 4 hours before, we recommend 3 to 4 grams per a kg of body weight of carbohydrates. We focus on carbs because from what we have in terms of our data, they are the macronutrient group that is going to restrict performance the most. You have tons of fat, and that is awesome because that's how we've evolved as a species, is we need to have a lot of storage fat. Fat is not what will hold you back in the majority of races. It's going to be carbohydrates. So that's what we go and focus on here. If I have 3 to 4 before, think small meal, which it could go in time out to just being your breakfast, right? And think that I want a mixture of both carbohydrates, fats, and protein. The carbohydrates I want, though, again, I would encourage you to focus on more complex groups because we have time to break it down. We don't need it right now. And that will go and allow us a more steady flow of a glucose load into our body. 1 to 2 hours before, oh, there we go. 1 to 2 grams per kilogram of body weight. Let's try that again, body weight of carbohydrates. This is one where we're now talking about a snack. And you're going to go and begin to think of a mixture between simple and complex. This is for fast fuel, this is for sustaining fuel. As I get closer to my event, as I begin to hit that 1 hour mark, focus more on a simple. As I'm further out, I go and shift more towards complex forms. So hopefully that makes sense. And a big part of this is I would encourage you work out what you're doing and then begin to go and look up foods that you would go and eat and see where you actually fall. This is actually a lot more food than what most people think they need to eat. But again, the point here is that we're preparing you to ride. One thing here before I go forward into our ride or race point. If you are just going out for an easy ride, you do not need to worry as much about this stuff. So if I'm going out for up to 1 hour where I'm just going out easy and cruising, I don't really worry about a pre-ride because I'm not going hard enough where I'm going to deplete my stores. If I'm going out really hard or really long, I definitely want something beforehand. Ride or race. Our general recommendation on this one is 0.5 to 1 gram of carbohydrates per kilogram of body weight. And here's where we'll throw in a new one, per hour of time. I am going to go and change this briefly on you though. If you're going to be out there for less than 1 hour, for us, do not worry about trying to eat during. Think about hydration. So hydrate. If you have gone and fueled right, you should be okay for up to about 1 hour without food. If I'm going out more than 1 hour, especially if I'm going hard, hydration and food, especially carbohydrates. A little bit of protein, which I'll just write as a small PRO here, is not a bad idea, but again, our focus is carbohydrates on this one. So if we go forward here, again, think about what we're actually doing. If I'm going to be out there and going for just a really long time, but not very hard, we can lean our mixture here of simple and complex more towards complex, right? Because we have a little bit more time, we're not working quite as hard. If I'm going to go out there and do a race, then I want to go and lead it more or all towards simple because we need the fuel right now, right? The biggest thing for most folks is just eating, and you need to eat early, which means I need to be consuming food from the start. I can't wait until I'm hungry or I'm feeling bad. It's too late at that point, and you need to eat often. So I would recommend that you aim to eat a small amount, every about, I would say 15 minutes or so, beginning at the start of the race. So we'll put every 15. This is tough. You need to practice like you're going to race, which means in a practice or in just your regular rides, practice on eating and go and figure out what food works for you if you're going and working out really, really hard. If you don't go do it in a practice, it means that by the time we go and race, you will not be prepared for it, and it generally does not end well for you. After our ride, so post-ride, a couple things for you. We're going to go and look at carbohydrates and protein, because protein we need for repair. Carbohydrates we need somewhere between 1 to 1.2 grams per kilogram for our meal. Protein, it kind of is going to have a range here of 0.1 to 0.3 grams per kg, which is not that much. This would comprise, for our amounts, 1 recovery meal. So I'll put 1 RM. When do I actually need this, though? That's a key thing, because a lot of folks I've seen think I need to eat this behind every single time I jump on my bike or I go out for a run, regardless of what I do. That's not necessarily true. If again I'm going out for like less than like an hour and it's really easy, I am not really worried as much about a meal behind that, unless I've got a huge amount of time before my next actual meal. Right? If I go out hard, if I go out for a long time, I will need to go and eat this. So this is 1 round of this. If you've been out for 3 hours going really, really hard at a race, you probably need to go and repeat this about every 2 to 3 hours. Every 2 to 3 hours. Oh, that was bad. And potentially for the next, and that's the thing that I might go and do anywhere from 2 to 4 times, depending on what I'm doing. The thoughts here is you're going to eat more of this if it's been a long and hard event, and especially if you have another event occurring later on that day or the next day where I need to maximize recovery. So that's our quick talk, which I know was not really fast, about our recommendations here. My recommendation for you is to take all of this information, which I'll go and just scroll up here for you, and start to go and plan out and write out what are you going to eat, and then do the math for yourself and figure out how much food do you need to actually go and consume. Adjust these as needed for you, especially these first ones up top. And if you have a question, again, feel free to go and comment or bring them into our practice. See ya.